The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, I guess. Could you raise your hand if you can hear me and see my screen? Yeah, okay, thank you. Before we start, for those of you who don't know GoToWebinar already, there is a questions section that you can use to send me questions, and I'll keep an eye on the list of questions and I'll try to answer them as we go. I'll just wait till 3. Well, it's just 3 now, so. All right, I'll start the recording and this will be available on YouTube, I guess, later on. I can see some questions already. All right. Okay, so welcome to this webinar, the conference room from Biamp. I'm Arnaud Barret, FSE in Europe. Well, today we're going to see what Biamp has worked on because Biamp has put a lot of efforts and energy into developing a complete solution for video conferencing. And this is actually a pretty good time to talk about it, as most of you are actually working remotely, I guess. So here's the agenda. To start with, we'll see what equipment we're going to use in a standard Biamp conference room. So the DSP, which is what Biamp used to specialize in until recently. We've now developed some microphones as well, some speakers, some expanders. We'll talk more about it in details as we go. Then we'll have a look at the system design templates articles you can use to make commissioning and deployment very easy and very fast. We'll go over the Tesseract configuration files, and we'll have a look at how to scale up systems and what else you can do using Biamp to complement your room. And there will be a Q&A section at the very end. There's questions already. Okay. Okay, Wayne. All right, so let's dive in. DSP, that's the obviously the main piece of equipment linking. That's the brain, let's say, of the conference room. And the Tesseract platform, the Tesseract family is really, really broad. But today we're just going to look at the one we're going to use for easy to deploy rooms. And this one's called the Tesseract Forte AVB VT4. It's got, well, 4 in, 4 out, 4 channels of AEC. It can manage 128 channels in and out using the AVB protocol. You can also do VoIP or standard telephone with that equipment. So it's a pretty standard DSP, and we'll see what else we need to make a complete conference room. So one of the most important thing, I wouldn't see presentation, but if you can't see the presentation, some people are not seeing my screen. Most of you are seeing my screen. Yeah, try to log in again. If you can't see my screen, just log in again. Most people are seeing it, sorry. All right, so like I was saying, one of the most important pieces of a video conferencing room is the microphone. And if you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel already, I invite you to do so. I've highlighted 2 webinars we've hosted in the past already, talking in more depth about our beam tracking microphones and what you can do with them within our software to make the most out of them. So we have 3 different microphones that we offer. All of them use the same beam tracking technology. The first one on the left, let me see if I can highlight this one. The first one on the left is called the TCM1. That's a pendant microphone. It's very useful when you have high ceiling, like in industrial buildings or auditoriums. You've got a TCMX. So TCM stands for terrestrial ceiling microphone. You've got the first one, the pendant. You've got the X, which is the ceiling mount. And you've got the TTMX, which is terrestrial table microphone on the right. They're available in black and white. Let's see. Let's switch. Sorry, small technical problem with the annotation to switch slides. So let's have a quick look at the pendant microphone first. Like I said, it's ideal for industrial meeting spaces or auditoriums whenever the ceiling is really high. It's divided in 3 zones of 120 degrees each. It's got 8 microphone elements inside in a 3D pattern. Each zone will be weighted independently to avoid, phase problems. And there is a custom cable to ensure that it doesn't rotate. And you have 3 LEDs, green or red, to show whether it's muted or not. Before I see a lot of questions regarding these LEDs, yes, there is some logic you can program within the Tesla software to trigger the change of colors of those LEDs. If you don't want to follow the normal logic, you can turn them off as well. And let's have a look at the tabletop microphone. So this one's a bit newer. It's made of, so it has 4 zones of 90 degrees. It's very thin compared to some competitors' microphones. Very small form factor. You've got captative touch mute buttons, so that's useful if you don't have a control unit on the table to mute yourself. You can just touch this microphone and it will mute automatically. There is some rubber mat bottom to limit the movement, so some grip to hold it on the table. And there is some mass-loaded vinyl rear sound rejection to prevent from your voice bouncing on the table back onto the mic capsules. Again, white or black. Let me have a quick look at these questions. Finish ceiling with a motor control. There is, as far as we know, there is no motor control version, but there are manufacturers that specialize in making these, and they can be adapted. But we don't do that. We don't provide that service. The mics are only available in black and white. How many AC channels do these microphones use? Just 1 per mic, even though there are 3 zones on the TCM1 and 4 zones tracked simultaneously on the TTM and TCMX. All of them use only 1 AC channel per microphone. So the TTMX comes with a 2-meter fixed cable, so you can't extend that cable. There are 2 ways to fix it. Well, to put it on the table, you can use a grommet, well, a 16mm hole, and then this mic, the mic can basically move around that hole, or you can use the secure mount system to make it fixed on the table, and then with a secure mount, no one can move it. So here's how it works. You've got two microphones on the top of the picture. They will be connected to the network box that usually sits under the table. There is a 10-meter distance maximum between that network box and the microphones. And that network box will be connected to our DSP, the one I was talking before, the VT4 in this case. Sorry. As you can see, this network box requires PoE plus power. So in this case, if you're just using the DSP and just one or two microphones with one network box, you can use a PoE plus injector and just use, connect a CAT cable from the DSP to that PoE plus injector, and another one from the output of the PoE plus injector to the network box. So we're using category cables only, as you can see on this picture. More questions came in. Wow, there's a lot of you, so there's a lot of questions. I apologize in advance if I can't answer all of the questions. There's 360 participants, which is good. Can be a bit challenging to follow all the questions. Do all the mics use AVB, not Dante? That's correct. And then mic LED individual controller. The 3 or 4 LEDs will be, sorry, the 3 LEDs of TCM1 and the LED rings will be controlled as a whole, not individually. The secure mount for the tabletop mic is not included. It's an accessory that you can order. Can we use this as replacement for Sennheiser tile mic? Yes, if you want. They don't use the same connection though. How many AEC reference channels? So again, one AEC channel per mic. Can I have more than 2 mics on the AVB network? Yes, you can have 2 mics per network box, but you can have as many network boxes as you want. Each of them with 1 or 2 microphones. Are you planning a Dante version? I don't have any vision on the roadmap, so questions regarding what's coming, sorry, no one at Biamp can help you with that. Please suggest PoE plus injector. Yeah, on our website, you can find the make and model of the PoE plus injector we recommend. We'll talk about the other questions like minimum height and daisy chain later. So the TCM1, sorry, this one, the pendant one, can be daisy chained, whereas these ones, the new ones, as you can see, there is just one connection. There is no in and out connection to daisy chain them. So each network box is independent and will be connected to either directly to the DSP or to a switch. All right, let's move on because I can't. We have 1 hour and there will be a lot of questions as we go. But those are very interesting questions. And again, I can see one for the distance coverage. I'll cover that later. So let's move on. The TCMX, that's our seating microphone. Ideal solution for suspended or fixed seatings. Again, like the TTMX and the tabletop version, it's got 4 zones of 90 degrees each. It's very thin, very small form factor as well. It's got an LED ring, so this can be green or red or off if it chooses so. If it chooses so. The engineers worked really hard to make it evenly distributed and nice to see. It's not disturbing, but it's visible when you need to. It can be very easily installed. Just drill a hole and then use the nut and washer to fix it onto the ceiling. Well, so it's a 1-inch standard US conduit thread. There is optionally a tile bridge accessory that you can order, and that's to secure it in the ceiling. The boxes are plenum rated, so you're good in case of fire. You're covered. You can put them in the ceiling. There is also sorry, I'm having trouble switching slides. There's also a ceiling mount designed for solid ceilings. Well, I guess all dimensions are standard for the US, but most of them can be used in Europe as well. So how do you connect those microphones? It's really similar to the tabletop version. You've got a network box at the top. You've got mic in 1 and 2, so 2 ports connecting each mic using category cables only. And then you've got the AVB/control port to go back to either your tessera using your PoE plus injector or to your switch. Same here, 10 meters maximum distance to connect the mics, but usually they will be close enough to the network box because the network box will stand in the ceiling, and then you'll just run some small cables to the mics, which shouldn't be far away from that box. So to answer the questions I had before about scalability, yes, you can have only 2 mics per box, but you can have as many boxes as you want, right? So that's one of the perks of using a networked audio solution. It's very scalable. So there is that version, which is the TCM-X equipment. And then there is the TCM-X-A. The A stands for amplified or amplifier, I'm not sure. And that gives you, in addition to being able to plug 2 microphones, you can now amplify 2 or 4. Well, you've got 2 outputs, low impedance outputs. So on this picture, we're using the Biamp speaker, the Desono CIC6, which is 8 ohms. So when we daisy chain, 2 of them, it's equivalent to a 4 ohm load. So we can have 4 speakers powered with 1 box in the ceiling, connecting 2 mics. And this is, we can achieve that putting just 1 cable into the ceiling from the PoE plus switch or a tessera forte using a VT, a PoE plus injector. And that single cable going into the ceiling will bring control, audio streams, and power to the mics and the speakers. I'm just having a quick look at the other questions, see if I cover something later. The distance coverage, that's covered later. We do not support sound reinforcement with those microphones. If you want to know more about it, just have a look at the webinar I suggested earlier in this presentation. It's on our YouTube channel. Well, is a box plan rated? Yes. These speakers work on AVB? No. So the CAT cables you see are just analog cables. I'll cover that later. What the output of the amplifier power? Again, I'll cover that later. All right, let's move on to the speakers because you want to know about amplifiers, and that's also part of the speakers. So we're going to talk about, so we've got the Desono family now, in addition to the Tessera family. And there are 3 models, the CIC6, which we are going to talk about today. And there are 2 other options, the P6 and P6SM, the small factor. Today we're going to focus on the one on the left. So what is it? It's a loudspeaker specifically designed for speech reinforcement. That means it's ideal for conference rooms. It's a 2-way 6.5-inch coaxial loudspeaker, bridge mounted, tweeter for crystal clear highs. So very, the goal for the speaker was to use it in conference rooms to make the sound, the voice reproduction as clear as possible. And we've also emphasized the frequency reproduction on the medium and highs to save power. Because again, this speaker is meant to be used with PoE+ amplifiers. So with that speaker, you can achieve more volume with less power. That's what it was built for. Also, it comes with a huge, like a wide coverage pattern, so 130 degrees. So even when you have low ceilings, the dispersion angle being so wide, you won't need that many speakers to cover the room evenly. So how do you connect those speakers to an amplifier? Well, first you have the Euroblock connectors, right? So you can connect those speakers using Euroblock, standard Euroblock and cable speakers. And there are 4 pins available, so you can daisy chain them very, very easily. They're equipped with blind mount fixings to make it very easy to install. And the grill, which is magnetic, can be painted to match your room's color. By default, they come in black and white and red. But again, if you don't like that color, if you want a different color, we can paint them. Termination-free connections. So that's the idea behind using that kind of connections. The category 5 connectors, or category 6, should I say now. On all the pictures, all the schematics we've seen so far, there is not a single analog cable or speaker cable. Our thinking behind the Biamp conference room is we want to use category cable as much as possible to make it, well, first, more flexible, because then you can swap equipment around. Cheaper, because if you only have one type of cable in a room, it's cheaper to install and it's faster to install. And it's also termination free. So if you could connect those speakers using CAT cables, you wouldn't have to terminate each cable and you'd save time and money. So that's our thinking behind it. So those Desono speakers come also with a category 5, RJ45 port, using the 4 pairs for the plus and 4 cables for the plus and 4 cables for the minus. So it's actually analog, but using category cables. Again, that allows you to run category cables only in your conference room. Now, Biamp acquired a part audio and community last year, And obviously, we now have a lot of speakers, and they do not come with the RJ45 connector. So I don't have a picture here, but Q3 this year, we're going to release an adapter where you'll be able to plug your CAT cable into that adapter, and that will convert it to a Euroblock connector. So you'll still be able to put category cables only in the entirety of your conference room, and then you'll be able to connect any of the apart speakers, for instance, if you don't like the Desono speaker. All right, a quick look at the questions again. Wow, there's so many of them. I'm gonna spend 30 seconds. So, yeah, capacity. TCMX say what type of cabling needs to be used to the speakers? Category cables, distance. Well, we have a page. You look for on our Cornerstone. We'll go to our Cornerstone website later. There is an article about it. You can see how many dBs you lose per 25 or 50 meters. I can't remember. Can I control the power of the speaker? Yes, you can control. So you have two channels, individual channels. So you can stream different audio streams at different power. On the Devio, can I have two TCMX? No, only one, and that's because the new mics have got 16 capsules instead of 8, and the DSP is not sufficient to handle 2 mics. All right, I'm sorry, I have to move on. I'll come back to the question at the end if I don't have to, if I can. The XUBT, that's one of our expanders in the Tessera family, and that's what allows you to connect to Tessera using USB and or Bluetooth. So what can you do? First of all, you can use it as an external audio card to send and receive channels, audio channels. You can also use it using a special driver to send and receive 8 channels of audio. That's very useful when you're recording, a multi-audio stream, multi-channel, stream. Bluetooth is quite handy as well because more and more people are used to using Bluetooth on their phone to connect their wireless headphones, and they just want to do the same thing in conference rooms. So that device allows people to use their tablet or their phone and just connect to the Tessera system to use the mic and the speakers in the room and make their call from their tablet or their phone using the app or just a standard phone call. We are obviously, because you're connecting, it's just a device. It's not, it's codec agnostic. So you can use Teams, any codec you want to use, you can. You'll just send the audio stream through that USB or Bluetooth connector, and then it will be passed to Tessera. So codec agnostic. Now, this device is also certified by Microsoft and Google for their Teams and respectively Teams Room system and Hangout Meet system. That means that for those 2 systems, the Microsoft and Google systems, Biamp will be trusted to handle the acoustic echo cancellation, and it will also bring a bi-directional mute synchronization. There is an article, there's a link pointing to an article. What does this mean? It means that when you're using a Microsoft Teams Room system or Google Room system, if you're not using a certified DSP, then if you have a mute button on your mic, you can touch it, it will mute your mic, but it will not reflect the muted state within the conference, within the codec. And vice versa, if you press mute in your Teams call, your mic will still be green, not red. So we are certified for both Microsoft and Google, and that part of that certification brings a bidirectional mute synchronization, which is a big deal for users. It's really confusing when you don't have that in place. Some quick questions regarding the XUBT. Is it possible to connect laptop with XUBT device? Yes, you can connect a laptop or a PC. Can I have 8 XUBTs to get 8 channels of audio input on Tessera? Yes, you can. You can have as many XUBTs as you want, 8 channels per XUBT. Bluetooth as well, and the Bluetooth channels are in addition to the USB channels. Does XUBT handle the AEC internally? No, it's got to be done using the Tessera. All right. Now, we've got our DSP, we've got our microphones, we've got some amplifiers and speakers. That's great. And until recently, until last year, we didn't have a solution, a really elegant solution, to connect that all together. We needed a switch made by a third party using PoE plus injectors or expensive switches that had PoE plus built in, and they had to be managed by IT, and it was, for small rooms systems, it was not ideal. So we came out with Tessera Connect, which is an equipment from the Tessera family connecting any Tessera equipment together. So it's a single device. It's pre-configured for Biamp products, and it's plug and play. So you plug it to the mains, and then you can enjoy 4 PoE plus ports to connect any expanders from Tessera family. And you've got an additional port, which is not PoE plus powered. That can be used to connect to a DSP, our Tessera Forte family or Tessera server. And it can also be used to daisy chain them. You can have up to 4 Tessera Connects per system, which allows you 13 device ports in total, plus 1 for the DSP. That's already good enough for, medium to large systems, because like we saw before, 1 cable allows you 2 mics and 4 speakers already. So with 13 ports, you can do a lot of rooms already. It's small, so you can put it in a credenza, under a table, or behind a display. It comes with brackets. Comes with brackets, so it's very quick to install. Let me have a quick look at the questions again. So I have a conference room with 8 mics. How do I connect them to the XUBT? You don't connect the XUBT to the mics. The microphones will be connected to a network box, itself connected to a switch, and the switch will be connected to a DSP. So that's how the DSP connects to the mics. And then the XUBT will be connected to the switch as well. And the DSP will receive both streams from the XUBT and from the mics independently, and that will be processed within the DSP. Explain advantage of AVB, why not Dante? That's a longer discussion, I'm sorry. Feel free to contact your local sales representative, because there are a lot of reasons why we're sticking, why we can't do what we're doing with Dante. Okay, let's move on. How does it compare in pricing to other switches? Again, talk to your local sales representative, because I don't have. I'm an FSE. I'm not. I don't know prices. That's not my territory. All right. So now that we've seen what we're going to use in a room, let's see how we can make it easy for you to use these different equipment and to make commissioning faster and easier. So we came up with, well, 3 room templates. Let me jump to my web browser. So these are available, publicly available on our website. The page I'm looking at is support.biamp.com. It's what we call Cornerstone. It's our technical support knowledge base. So you don't have to log in. You can publicly access it. And there's a ton of things that could be useful to you to save time, make your life easier, and help you designing a system. You can see the design library, which is what we're going to look at. And later, I'll show you some of the design tools that you can use, including to know what distance can cover a microphone in one specific room, or how many watts do I need to power my speaker, etc., etc. So if I click on Design Library, you can see there is a conference room designs section, and then government and courtroom and courts design, education, etc., etc. Sorry. So today we're going to focus on, well, this section, and I've already preloaded. Sorry, not here. I've already preloaded 1, 2, 3, 3 design library, 3 articles, 3 design templates. Sorry, I was looking for that word. The first one is one of the simplest design you can do. Let me open up the picture. So if you've got a very, very simple room, you've got 1 microphone, 1 speaker, and 1 soft codec installed on your laptop. Well, this is all you need. So you need a DSP. You need to connect that DSP to your laptop using a USB cable. And the DSP will be recognized as an external sound card, and audio will start flowing without installing any driver. The DSP will talk to the Pendant box through the PoE plus injector to power that Pendant box using category cables only. Then the microphone will be connected to the input 1, microphone input 1. And the speaker will be connected to the amplified output number 1 as well. So the mic will be powered by the box. The speaker will be amplified by the box as well, and the box will be amplified by the PoE plus injector. And when it comes to audio streams, the mic will send an audio stream back to the DSP. It will be processed, sent back to the USB output to the soft codec so that the far end can hear you. And then when the far end speaks, the laptop will send the audio stream using the USB cable to the DSP. DSP will send it back to the Pendant box, and the Pendant box will amplify it to the speaker. Does it make sense? You're not able to see the templates. Can you see the templates? I'm pretty sure you can. Yes, okay, a lot of yeses. Okay, good, thanks. Right. Does this room design include sound reinforcement? Not this one. There are others. If you go back to this section, there are other designs allowing sound reinforcement. So I invite you to have a look after that webinar. How many speakers can we connect in this example? Well, you could connect up to 4. This design template is actually made for training purposes, and during trainings, usually people only have 1 speaker on the table. That's why we made it that way. But you can connect up to 4 speakers if you wish to. But for small rooms, 1 or 2 are usually enough. So the other ones are quite similar. This one is very similar. You can see the difference is we've just added 1 mic. So that's for a bigger room. Again, you could have up to 4 speakers, but because for the same reason that was made for training purposes, there's only 1 speaker in that schematic. And we've got a bigger one using the XUBT. Let's have a look at this one. This one's a bit more complicated, but it's very similar to the other one. So we've got 2 microphones connected to that network box on the right. We've got 1 speaker, but again, you could have up to 4 speakers. That network box is connected to the Tesseract Connect. The Tesseract Connect is what links all the Tessera devices together. And to that Connect, we've connected the DSP and the XUBT. So the DSP can talk to the XUBT and to the TCMXA Pendant box. That means the difference between this design and the one before is you can now connect to the Tessera system using Bluetooth. That's the violet dotted line. And you've got an extra USB port you can enjoy. And the soft codec laptop on the right could actually be a Microsoft Teams room control unit, or it could be a Google Hangout Meet control unit, or Zoom. It could be anything you want, as long as it's got a USB port. So that's, again, using CAT cables only on USB if you're not using Bluetooth. Any questions? Why 2 soft codecs? Well, just to show you that it's possible. You could have 1, you could have 2 presenters. What's the pin connection for? Oh, great question. What's the pin connection of RJ45 for speakers connection? So there is an article about it. If you look for Desono, Biamp Desono on support.biamp.com, you'll find that article. And it shows you which cable within the RJ45 cable is used for plus and minus. Any software is available. All our softwares are available on biamp.com in the download sections. They are free, don't have to register, just download them, use them. Do any processor have the ability to route video plus control with the audio via AVB over 1 CAT cable? Well, that's a completely different question. We've got a Lux unit for video, and you can embed audio and send control as well. So yes and no, but please contact your sales representative for that. Is a Bluetooth for iOS just for BGM? No, the Bluetooth allows you to make calls. So it's a bi-directional audio stream. You will be able to talk in the mics in the room and listen to the far end through the speakers in the room. It's not just one or the other, it's both. Will the USB on Tessera also toggle the mute state on soft codec? No, only the XUBT is certified. Can we use, if we use CC5, then we don't need PoE+, that's correct. The TC5 comes with 4 PoE plus ports. Some questions about cameras. Please contact your sales representative for cameras for more complete solutions. Okay, let's move on. It's already 1:45, so these articles follow a similar structure. So any of them that you open, you'll find a table of contents with a brief summary of what that room is usually used for. The system, the room design, that's what I just showed you. Listing the functionality of the room, and then there is the equipment list to achieve those functionalities, right? Then there is the system configuration, and you can see there is a screenshot of what it looks like. And instead of having you redo that, you can simply use the link at the end of that section, this link, to download the Tessera file. So I can just open it. And load it. While it loads, I'm just going to finish. There is a few notes on the network requirements. Like in this case, you don't need any IP addresses. Oops, this was loading. There are a few warnings about the distance, everything. There is a section about how to place your mic and speakers and how to set up the audio. Most of it is already done for you within the file. So that's what it looks like. I don't have the control because I haven't extracted the zip archive. That's why. But you can see your equipment, your 2 Parley mics here, the AEC processing block. You can see the USB input from the Forte, the USB input from the XUBT, the Bluetooth input, the option to change the SSID of your Bluetooth, the timeout, etc., etc. Some filters, some meters, a matrix to know where sound's going. Then some speaker level, the amp output, the USB output from the Tessera, from the XPT, the Bluetooth output. Everything's done for you in that file. So even if you're not going to use that file as it is, because your room is slightly different, this is usually a good starting point to save you a lot of time. And that's the whole thinking, that's what Biamp is trying to achieve. Make it easier to install, well, cheaper to install using just one type of cable, faster because, again, there's just one type of cable, easier to program because we've already done most of it for you. And using termination-free connectors, we've made it easy to install as well. So that's where Biamp is going. Let's have a quick look at the question again. From the phone with your Bluetooth, can soft codec lie on the phone? Yes. So if you connect to the XUBT using Bluetooth, you could use, I don't know, WhatsApp to make a call. You could use Teams on your phone. You could use anything you want, FaceTime, whatever you want. The Tessera will just process the audio. So whatever app you use, the audio will be sent out of your phone via Bluetooth through to Tessera, through the XUBT. Is this AVB configuration already done or needs to configure? So the beauty of using the Tessera Connect is you don't have to configure anything when it comes to networks. You just plug and play your devices onto Tessera Connect, and they will all work natively. No network configuration necessary. Okie dokie. What's next? Design template. Quick word on AAC for those of you who are not familiar with what AAC is. So you've got a far end speaker on the left and the near end, well, the people in the conference room on the right. So when the far end says hello, your speakers actually say hello and the mic picks it up. And if there's no AAC, when the people in the room say hello, both signals are sent back to the far end. So the far end hears itself, and that's very disturbing. You can't really talk much if you hear yourself with a delay. It's nearly impossible. Very, very annoying. So what does AAC means? What does it does? When the far end says something, we reference the signal coming from the far end, and when the mic picks it up, the AAC processing basically kills it, it suppresses it, and only the signal coming from the conference room is being sent to the far end. That's what it looks like in Tessura. You've got your mic. Sorry. This is how it works. So the microphone, I'm not sure how, so how does it work, this tool? The spotlight. Right, so you've got your mic here connected to the AAC channel, the first one, being processed and then sent to the matrix. And you've got the sound coming from your USB, going to the amplifier, going through, connected to the speaker. So let's run it. Oops, I can't trigger animations with that. So you can see the black signal being sent to the loudspeaker and also to the AAC reference. And when that signal reaches the AAC block, the AAC channel, 4-channel block on the left knows what's coming because the AAC reference on the right was informed that this signal was being played through the loudspeaker. And then it waits a bit for it to be picked up by the mic and then cancels it. That's how it works. That's already done for you in those design templates you can download, so you don't have to worry about it. But it's just to show you that even though you've got 4 zones tracking people individually in that room, for each microphone just needs to be connected to one AAC input, and there is nothing to configure aside from that for you. So it's very easy. You can also see that the beam tracking microphone are easy to configure. There's just a processing block to drag and drop, and that's it. It's done for you. There's more on that on one of the 2 videos I pointed you to at the beginning of this webinar. And there's a complete webinar on acoustic echo constellation that you can find on YouTube as well. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. What about Voip configuration? That's, again, there's a webinar on Voip. Would you recommend standard or shielded CAT cables? Unshielded cables are fine for mics and speakers. Like I said before, no local sound reinforcement with those mics. So, oops, sorry. To finish, I want to show you a few things. So I'll look at the questions later for those who have time to wait a bit. This is an example of how you can scale it up very easily. if you need a room with Bluetooth, 4 microphones, 8 speakers, that's how you do it. You've got 2 plenum boxes at the top, each connected to 2 microphones and 4 speakers. Those 2 boxes are connected to the Tessera Connect. The Tessera Connect also connects to DSP and to the XUBT. With that schematic, you can see how simple it is. It's category cables only, or USB to connect your laptop or your Microsoft or Google or Zoom system in the room to the XUBT. And the audio streams can flow in any direction. All streams are independent and they can be processed the way you want within Tessera. Now you can design from scratch, or you can use a design library to start with a template. That's up to you. So you can keep adding more mics and speakers to the room. That's one way of scaling up. You can also add more rooms. So in this example, you have 6 rooms, each using the XUBT to provide USB connectivity in each room, or Bluetooth connectivity. Each of them have got 2 microphones. And all those equipment are connected to a switch with PoE plus in this case, to simplify the drawing. And then you connect your DSP to that switch as well, and that DSP can process the signal coming from those devices. Sorry. So the perks, another perk of networked audio is that you can mutualize the DSP resources for more than one room. The examples we saw earlier obviously are simple, so we use one DSP for one room, but you can actually share the cost of that DSP across multiple rooms, and the cost per room goes down significantly. It's also, using less rack space and less network switch ports. So that's why, more and more people are using networked audio in their conferencing environment. From TC5 to CMX, okay, from the TC5 to the plenum box for the mic, the TCMX or XA boxes, the maximum length of the CAT cable is 100 meters. It's standard Ethernet. What's the ideal seating position layout for the mics and speaker? So I'm going to show you that before the end, which is approaching quite quickly. So let's just move on. The other way to scale up is to have combinable room systems. In this scenario, we have one room on the left, one room on the right. Each of them could be independent, but you can also simply put a CAT cable to link the 2 Tessera connects, and suddenly you can send any audio stream from the left to the right and vice versa. So again, talking about scalability, easy to add speakers, microphones, to make more rooms using one DSP, or to link rooms altogether. If you want to know more, like I said, we have a very active YouTube channel. There are also some training courses available on our website. The one we recommend, obviously, start with is Tessera Forte, then Tessera Server / Server IO, and then Lux if you're interested in video as well. Before I end this webinar, let me run you through a few things you can find on Cornerstone. So on support.biamp.com, you've got a design library that's exactly what we looked at earlier. You also have design tools. And design tools, you have a list of tools you can use. People ask me, how many watts do you need earlier in the question list? So the Desono that's the datasheet of the Desono, right? You can see here that the sensitivity is 80 dB SPL per watt at 1 meter. So when you do the math, you input that loudspeaker sensitivity in that box at the amplifier power calculator. You say, well, it's a sitting speaker, so it's unlikely that people are going to be more than 2 or 2.5 meters away from the speaker. I want to listen approximately at 70 dBs, and I want a headroom of 12 dBs. It gives you how many RMS watts you need and how many watts you need for the burst when you have, a peak. If you increase it to 75 dBs, which is already a lot for conferencing, you can see that these values are still very low. So the PoE plus powered amplifiers that we use in the designs I showed you earlier are more than sufficient to handle conferencing applications. And we did some demos at ISE that blew people away as well. You can turn on the volume up and those amplifiers are still running. And usually people put their hands on their ears, they cover their ears before we start reaching the maximum output of those amps. So that's one calculator you can use to know how much power you need for a given application. Obviously, if you need 100 dBs, then you need more power, but that's for completely different application. Right, so something else, we talked about certification. So we have a page on biamp.com. In the menu, we have solutions, and we have a subsection for Microsoft Team rooms and Google Hangouts Meet rooms. These are those two pages. So feel free to have a look and see, if you're interested, just contact your local sales representative. He can talk you through the benefits and the systems we put together with Microsoft and Google. That's something I wanted to let you know about. And the questions regarding the distance for the mic, we have two microphone calculators available online. Again, the seating loudspeaker calculator and the Parley seating microphone calculator and the tabletop calculator. That's just an example. So if I've got a seating mic with a ceiling height of 2.7 meters, people are sitting, the room acoustics is good, this is my coverage, 5.2 meters diameter. Now, if my room is 10 meters by 5 meters, this is what's recommended. 2 mics, right? You've got a heated map. You can see just below the heated map that you've got the distance to nearest mic, and that's being updated as you hover the mouse on the map. If I click somewhere, if I click here, you can see below that I could listen to a recording of what that sounds like when someone talks at that distance. So if I click at 1.65 meters, the recording of 2 meters is loaded by default. If I click at 3.7 meters, well, automatically you can listen to the one recorded at 4 meters, right? That's pretty useful. You can send that to your client to see if he's happy with the quality. If he's not, you can recommend more mics and see if he's happy with that. If you want to include that in your quote, you can see the URL is generic, but if I click generate link, now I can copy and paste that into a private tab, and it will pre-populate all the values you see on that page. And that's how you can include it in quotes very easily. You just copy and paste that link you generated in the quote. And that means Biamp will back you up when you specify 1, 2, 3 microphones. It's because Biamp says so. Now, what do these settings mean? Poor, fair, good, great, perfect. There is a link here, right, this one. And this is what we mean. So a perfect room would have less than 35 dBA noise floor, a very low RT60. And the more you go up for these values, the poorer the room acoustics. So that's how we define poor, fair, good, great, perfect. We've got the same calculator for the tabletop version, where you input your room length. You enter the table length, the table shape. Again, you say whether you've got a great or good acoustics in a room. And again, you can have less, more microphones, and you can play with it. That's about it. We also have one last calculator. I didn't preload, forgot about it. I haven't used it enough. It's a ceiling loudspeaker calculator. So again, you can say I've got a room which is 10 by 8, ceiling at, I don't know, 2.8 meters. And I want to use a CM20D, and it will give you, a suggestion on how to place your speakers using different layouts. That's another calculator we have, and below the heated map, you'll get the number of loudspeakers you need, the power requirement per speaker, and which type you should use if you're using a 70 or 100 volt speaker and amplifier. All right, I'm going to have a quick look at the questions now. So what's the ideal ceiling layout or position of the mics and speaker? Do the mics have to be separated from the speaker? Well, we recommend that, to alternate between speaker, mic. I guess that's what's commonly done. But again, those calculators can give you a good idea of how to place them. It's network audio. What's the latency of the system? Right. So in our compiler, our Tessura software, which is again available for free publicly on our website, when you compile it, I'm just going to remove one thing to recompile again. You can see the delay is actually displayed after the compilation is done. So in this case, processing AEC obviously takes a lot of time, but it's still reasonable. It's still under 30 milliseconds, which is low enough for people not to hear it. Does it answer your question? Can these DSPs connect to Vocia and be taken? Well, yes, you can integrate Vocia and Tessura using CobraNet or analog if you want, and configure both of them to Tessura to play background music and Vocia to receive that background music and play. They can work, hand in hand. When the software 3.15 TC5D will be available. 3.15, I'm not sure. I think we have had some delay because of the pandemic. The TC5D is scheduled to be released in Q3. I haven't had any updates regarding a delay on that. But again, due to the pandemic, anything is subject to change. Any training for Biamp conference design system? Well, you have the talk to your sales representative he will organize something. We have webinars online. We have the online training courses I showed you before. That's a very, very good start already. Please share PPT file after complete session. Yes, those files will be shared. No worries. Awesome webinar. Can we get these calculators? Sure, these calculators are online. So if you go to, I'm going to show you again. If you go to the main page, support.biamp.com, at the bottom of the page, on the right-hand side, you've got design tools. When you click on that, you've got multiple calculators. The first one is the loudspeaker calculator. The second one is the ceiling mic calculator. The third one is the tabletop mic calculator. The fourth one is the amplifier power calculator. Will you send a link to download the recording of this print? I guess we'll post it on YouTube directly. If not, you'll get a link. Any security concerns with the Bluetooth technology when connecting cell phones? Excellent. Each individual from different room connecting. So when the XUBT allows Bluetooth connection, that's correct. Only one device can connect to the XUBT at the same time. So that person will send and receive audio streams. So there is no way someone else can connect using Bluetooth to that device and intercept those packets. Now, there's also a concern about someone leaving the room and making a call and forgetting that he's connected. And that's why we have that control status block to configure it. There is an inactivity timeout. And let's say I set it to 20 seconds. That means that when a phone or tablet or laptop is connected using Bluetooth to the XUBT, if there is no audio stream going on for 20 seconds, the phone, tablet, or laptop will automatically be disconnected from the XUBT. To connect, good. Well, I think that's it. It's already 4:12. All the remaining questions, sorry, there's just so many of you. I couldn't answer all of them. So please feel free to send your unanswered questions to support@biamp.com. We will post that video online. Like I said, the slides will be made available as well. If you've got any questions regarding pricing, demos, training, please feel free to contact your sales representative. And that's it. Thank you all for joining. Attendance has been huge. I guess it's, everybody's trying to learn something. All right, I'll stop the recording now.